Introduce to you a gentleman that I respect a lot. We've come to know Jim here recently over the last 6 months or so, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But before I start, Jim has been traveling all over the district today. He's getting a little tired, so he's been starting at 7 o'clock this morning. So cut him a little break. But Jim's going to tell you a little about himself, and then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. So this time, I'd like to introduce our next Congressman, Jim Renacci.
Thank you all. And you know what? I really do appreciate it. This is really overwhelming on a Friday night. I mean, and it just shows what the concerns that we really have. And I see a lot of generations here, which is great too, because there's going to be a lot of generations. If we don't get things straightened out, they're going to have to pay. So we need to really make sure that we can turn some things back around. What I thought I'd do, because there's a lot of new faces here tonight, is give you a little bit of background on myself. Then I'm going to tell you why I'm running. I'm going to tell you some of the things I believe in, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. And when the questions come, fire away whatever you like to talk about, because that's how I'm going to learn, and that's how I'm going to be able to represent you in Congress. A little bit about myself. Born in a town in western Pennsylvania, blue-collar town. Father was a railroad worker. My mother was a nurse. My grandfather was a coal miner. You know, I tell everybody that that's the greatest place where I learned my values, and strong values and commitments of family and a hard day's work, because it was a blue-collar town. It was a mill town. It was a coal mining area, and it was definitely strong value area. First person to graduate from college in my family. I paid for my own college education by working in a factory, driving a truck, working in a body shop. I mean, I did a number of things. I even worked for the county road crew for a while. All jobs to try and help me pay my way through college. Graduated from Indiana University of Pennsylvania with a degree in business administration, a concentration in accounting. I got a job in a CPA firm in Pittsburgh, Grant Thornton, which is one of the largest CPA firms in the country today, international. Spent 2.5 years with them, and primarily in healthcare. It was amazing, and primarily in Ohio. That's how I got my first real entrance into Ohio, because we got this contract with the state of Ohio that says we're going to go out and look at hospitals and nursing homes, and I was a young guy then, and they said, well, you're the guy going out. So I spent a lot of time out here in Ohio, traveling all small towns, getting to know the small towns, and the one town that I ended up the most was a town by the name of Wadsworth, Ohio. And the reason is because a gentleman that had a business in Wadsworth, he actually had 17 nursing homes, 15, 16, 7, somewhere around there. And I actually spent a lot of time out here in Wadsworth, almost 6 months for 2 straight years, auditing and overseeing his businesses. Was going to be the youngest partner at this CPA firm, really had no intentions of going anywhere. I had just become engaged to my future wife at that time, who as I tell everybody, I met in high school. She tells me we met in 6th grade. And I'm sure we crossed paths because we both came from a small town in western Pennsylvania. But had no intentions of coming out here, and ultimately was offered a position out here that I couldn't refuse. Moved to Wadsworth, Ohio, and spent a year working with the company here in Wadsworth. At the same time, I was married to my wife, and about a year after being here, I decided that I could probably do as well on my own as I could do with the company I was with. Now, the interesting thing is, I've always said that you can never leave anybody high and dry, and I did work with that company, got their books all cleaned up. Today, I can tell you he's one of my strongest supporters, because of what I did for him, only in really 1 year, but I never left him after I left. Anytime he needed me, I always went back. But started my own business at the age of 24, bought a nursing home, spent the next 15 years owning and operating and buying nursing homes, and ultimately until the year 2000, that's what I did, anything related to healthcare. I did have one challenge about 7, 8 years into it. I was told by the state of Ohio my facilities did not meet the qualifications because they were old. Anybody remember the old 2-story nursing homes? Well, that's what I had. I had 3 small children. I was 33 years old at the time, and I had about $11 million worth of debt and 9 nursing homes. I wondered, what am I going to do? None of my facilities are going to comply. I got to tell you, I didn't sleep very well for a few nights, and I wondered, what's the next move? What's the next step? One day I got up and said, you know what, this is America. We can do anything if we believe in ourselves and go forward. I started a construction company. I tore every facility down. We built brand new facilities. I found out that there was actually a need for this in this state, so I ended up tearing more facilities down, buying facilities, tearing them down, and ultimately in the year 2000 I had 17 brand new facilities and 6 that I managed, plus a whole conglomeration of other businesses related to those nursing homes. And ultimately I sold them in 2000. At the same time, I was asked by our city, which was running some deficits, if I would have an interest in becoming a politician. Well, of course, I had no interest in being a politician, but they convinced me to do it. And it was taking business concepts into the city of Wadsworth. So I did that. I ran my first election. I won. Spent time on the finance committee. Realized that the only way to balance the budget was to become the mayor. Ran for mayor with the commitment that I would get in, balance the budget, and get out. Kind of a unique thing for somebody in politics, right? Get in, fix it, and get out. I can tell you, after 7 years, we were on track to balance the budget. In fact, we were on track to have a surplus. I knew we were doing well. I decided not to run again, and I really decided I was just going to go back into the private sector and finish my career in the private sector. By the way, even though I spent that 8 years in government, I got to tell you, I did serve my community for probably another seven or 8 years prior to that. I was a fireman for my community, which is kind of interesting. I was also on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I was also on the Planning Commission. So a lot of people see me and say, well, you were a fireman. Yeah. And I probably still would be a fireman because I came from a family of firemen. But I got to tell you, when the tone went off at 3 in the morning, and you had 3 small children, and you also had a business that you had to get up to, after about, and that was almost 5 years, I decided that I couldn't be a fireman anymore. But I still, I have a lot of friends in the fire department, and it's still in my heart. You know, the fire service. So anyway.